sacrificing your old self.
Yeah.
And everything that was attached to it. That dude isn't here anymore. I'm not the guy I was 5 years ago.
And I think having faith in God is believing that when you make those decisions, no matter how good you think that relationship was, you're going to find a better one.
That's a fact.
Agreed.
And once you keep that in mind,
I think that every day is a whole life.
right?
Right? Like when you go to sleep, that's like a process of rebirth because you're never the same because your brain downloads all those experiences. So you change every single day.
Right.
But now you get to look at yesterday and all that you did yesterday, that person did, you got to live it today. Right? So like, I remember I was thinking about this concept because I was up late one night and I was like, if I don't go to sleep, the next day I wake up, I'm going to be tired and it's going to be hard for me to get whatever I need to get done. But at that time, because, you know, me right here, I'm still making the decision as this person to stay up because I don't have to live it. Right? The version of me tomorrow going to have to live the consequences of my decisions today. Right? So it makes it feel easier that you making decisions because you don't feel like you got to live it. Right? Not knowing that time will come. So you go to sleep and then that version of you wakes up like, man, what you do yesterday?
You only got 3 hours
man,
sleep.
Why am I tired, man? He was up again, wasn't he? And every single day you live a whole life like that, going through different versions of yourself. But if you live a life where those previous versions of you stack up, making good decisions, when you wake up all of a sudden, man, you got the rollie, you look fine, you fly. And what we got on the business schedule today, oh, my yesterdays must have did some right things.
Right.
You understand me? And so you get to make that decision about life at every single moment, right? And that's the beauty of life. I don't care what happened all your previous yesterdays. That person today gets to decide what happens tomorrow.
The bigger one. Bigger.
Several things I wanted to say. So, all right, I'll start out with this one. God to you. Is there a God beyond yourself?
I believe there's the creator, there's Allah. You know, I am a attachment. I come from the source. You understand me? I believe in that inner God. You know, Allah is all in all. You know, but for me, it's my connection to God that makes me a God, right? It would be vanity to say that I'm big God. I don't know how all this was created, you know, but I do know I had to come from source because I have some of them same powers as source, right? That ability to source things from my mind and bring it out. So for me, that's God. And I always tell people the way you can prove you God is you can take something out your mind and bring it in reality. You understand me? And so for me, Allah is God, but that's those attributes. That's the all in all. You understand me? But for me, no, I'm not the God. I am a God. You know what I'm saying? I'm just my father's child.
Good. I wanted to hear that answer. So for clearance from me, you know, and probably for the world,
yes, sir.
You know, definitely clearance. So being that that you feel that there is a supreme creator, where does he play in this whole factor when we talk about these decision makings? Because I hear everybody in the room all talking about this control stuff. And where does God play a role at? Because if we are having self-control, where's God?
You know, you look at the definition of Muslim, it's one who submits his will to do the will of God.
The will of Allah, yes.
So let's say in that God is good, right? When a man does good will, he's doing God's will, right? He's in the flow of the decisions that God essentially wants him to make, right? But God gave that man free will to decide whether he's going to do good will or whether he's going to do his will. You understand me? It's like that whole Aleister Crowley, do as thy will, right? That's man becoming, right, the devil. He's no longer in alignment with God. That means he can do whatever he wants to, unconsequential. There's nothing to check him, right? There's no judgment inside him. He doesn't have, like, a man that follows God has judgment day every day. You understand me? Like, the judgment that you get from society ain't the one that matters. It's the one that you cast on self. So for me, if I do something that is not aligned with my Godhead, my God self, I'm going to get inflicted punishment. And that's God letting me know that's not my will, that's yours. You understand me? And so for me, being a person that does good, that's when you following God. Everybody has a certain moral compass. Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan get a breakdown. He say, children do they dirt in the dark before they even know, but they have an innate immoral compass to know. So they start playing with sex. They're not gonna do that in front of the adults, right? They're gonna do it in the dark where nobody can see it because you already know that's not God's will.
Right.
So we have a moral compass as a child that we stray away from or we stay with. It's like a compass, like, no, I'm literally gonna keep following this, or I'm gonna go left, or I'm gonna go to the east. So if you develop consistently, and you can always fall off the path and get back on the path. That's the beauty of life, right? But some people stray so far away, they just get lost and their compass is broke, right? And so for me, it's always aligning my decisions with God's will. Because I think the word sin in Hebrew means off target. So when you're not connected to your nature as a righteous human being to make good decisions and to do good. So when we talked about capitalism, if a man makes decisions and he knows that those decisions are not for the good of his brother or sis or humanity, he know that ain't God will. But the devil will tell you nice things and God will tell you harsh things. You understand me? God will be like, bro, if you do that, it's a punishment. Devil, man, do what you want to do. So who he go listen to? And his weakness, he go listen to the devil because he can do whatever he wants to. But if you follow God, then he's on that path. And that's the one he get invested in. That's the one that's going to last the longest. He's not going to hate himself at the end of his decisions.
So there's possible for, because this is things I wrestle with my higher understanding. So we can have a will and do what we want to do, but there's a God that created us.
Mm-hmm.
And by that, that would mean we are going against God's will. Is that even possible?
Like your parents, they make you, right? Mm-hmm. Your parents can give you your rules, orders. This is how I grew you up. You understand? This is how I groomed you. I want you to follow the family business. This is what we do. We revolutionaries, right? We fight for black people. We activists. We on the side of fighting against the system and oppression. Child somewhere along the way decides that ain't what I want to do. I want to be in the streets. Fuck these niggas. I'm done with this, right? They no longer following their parents' will, but we know that their parents made them. But their parents also have no control over what they do with their mind. You understand? They can only give them the tools to make that decision to decide who they want to be.
We're speaking about God, though.
Right. In that analogy, the parent is God. Right.
But we're speaking about God, who knows
and God
all
is our
things
parent
before it happens.
Right.
Who, is that, he's omnipresent.
Yes,
he has he knows everything. So how could something go against his will?
See, it depends on your definition and your idea of God. The omnipresence of God is different. See, I believe man is God. Man has the ability to make his own decisions because man is his own God.
So let me rewind the first question. Is there a God outside of man?
In the sense that we came from the source that made man. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So there's a God outside of man.
I think the easiest way to understand it is saying that
outside of the physical flesh that we are putting our eyes on, is there a supreme power that is in control of
there's a divine, I believe there's a divine mathematical intelligence that's over the universe. God is mathematical in all things that he do.
And that's what I was saying. So so what you just said, someone could go against that God's will?
But there's cycles. The beauty about reality is we live our little blimps of life. Right? And we specs on the destiny of the world, right? What we do can still be in flow with God's will, right? It's like an immune system heating up, right? This is part of the process to make you healthier. This is part of the process of cleansing the earth. This is part of the process where man is taking man, because we are one long collective consciousness. Right. What we study the most in the world is the past, right? The books that come from the past, the lessons that come from the past. So we are a bit mind, a human organism, learning off those decisions, right? Mm-hmm. The greatest lesson for the world over the past 1,000 years was Black American slavery. And look what those people did afterwards. The world would not be there if it was for not. Because as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught, we learned what was inside us, right? When we see what somebody else does, we know what the capability of man is. We know what we don't want to do.
Right.
So imagine we now go into the future and it gets to a point where we've learned the lessons, but we had to go through them in order to get there. So God may not be looking at, and I'm talking about, you know, the God of all things and how they all connect. You understand me? Intangibly. I'm not looking at individual existence, right? Looking at the collective existence of human beings.
This hot for trapper turn smack rapper. Only smack rapper that you know is smack rappers. Got bars, I can hang with the backpackers. Trap star, I don't hang with the backpackers. I'm in the hood with the work, you heard. Making fiends leave earth, you heard. Got your baby mama thirst, you heard. Feel the flow, nigga, throw it in reverse. This the wave you need to